Welcome. I'm going to show you 2 simple exercises that lay the foundations for effective ADHD management. But first, a tiny bit of background about me. My name is Susie and I'm an ADHD coach. After many years of terrible mental health, including crippling anxiety and bouts of depression, I have completely flipped my story from one of worthlessness to one of worthiness. And though I still have challenges at times, life is finally really good. And I also have heaps of experience in health and wellbeing, Masters of Public Health, 30 odd years of nursing, as well as many years experience as a health coach. Okay, so let's dive into this workshop. The first part is a practical exercise to help you manage your load day to day. I'm sure you're well aware that people with ADHD develop differently, and this means that we struggle with a set of mental or cognitive skills. They're commonly called executive skills or executive functions. ADHD differs from person to person significantly in terms of severity and which symptoms are most problematic. I find this model most helpful for understanding the impact of ADHD. So in a moment, you'll be able to scan through these executive skills and see which ones resonate as being your biggest challenges. You'll need to press pause and read up on the definitions. Just below the video, you'll find a link to a worksheet that you can complete electronically. So click on that link and write down the 3 executive skills you feel are your biggest challenges on the worksheet provided. In my coaching programs, we go into this in a heap more detail, and this process of self-understanding is so helpful in designing a life that really works for you. As one of my clients, Rachel, put it, I began to see the relationship between my slow traction in my business as a result of my executive functioning weakness. I then knew what I needed to do to succeed. So you can see it's pretty cool to get this level of understanding. The first step to making day-to-day tasks easier is working out which ones are most effortful. So press pause and write down a list of tasks you regularly have to do. You might do one just for work or just for home, and try to include as much as possible. Press pause and complete that now. The next step is to give each task that you've written down a score out of 10 in terms of how effortful they are. And it may be an easy task, but just deathly boring or really fiddly, for example. A task that you always put off, or ones that you'd actually prefer to stick needles in your eyes than do, you give a 10. And ones that are easy, that you don't mind doing at all, are a 0. So press pause and do that bit now. You can clearly see which tasks you need to somehow alter to make them less painful. And they are very likely to correlate with the executive skills you identified as your biggest challenges. Anything that's a 10, you might seriously consider delegating to someone else or outsourcing. Now, I know that this isn't always possible, but remember, it's really stressful being a square peg in a round hole. We have been pretty much brainwashed to believe that getting help is a luxury or a weakness, and therefore shameful. But nothing could be further from the truth. There's not a seriously successful person who doesn't outsource. And if you feel loads of resistance to this, it's likely that it's a mindset issue stopping you, not your finances. Nearly everyone that I work with, they will gladly spend money doing other things that give them a rush of dopamine, but that's not helping them get peace of mind. Yet they will fiercely resist outsourcing. But if outsourcing and delegation is not an option, the next step is to look at these tasks again and see if there's other ways you can change them. There's a list of other principles and examples to help you brainstorm ways that you can make tasks easier in the worksheet provided. So before you do the next exercise, let's just have a stretch. Okay. In my ADHD coaching, it's become incredibly clear to me that many people aren't receiving optimal treatment. So I'm going to share with you a really simple way to assess how effective your treatment is. Now, maybe your medical management is perfect, but getting it right can make such a huge difference to how well you can put other strategies in place. When you first try a medication, many people see a vast improvement, but this can lead us to stop increasing our meds before you find your optimal dose or sweet spot. So if you want to see how well your symptoms are managed, there's a simple way to assess this, and that's by doing the Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale. Don't get too hung up on how to read the results. The aim of this exercise is simply to get a rough idea of how you're doing. What we're interested in is how many of your answers were in the grey areas. So if there's plenty of answers in the grey areas, make an appointment with your doctor so that you can have your medications reviewed and take your results with you. If you're unsure, then there's probably room for improvement. And remember, if you're ever increasing your medication dose with your doctor's input, of course, some temporary mild side effects might occur, but most settle within days. A small amount of discomfort for a short period of time might be necessary to find your optimal dose. I really hope that this has been super helpful. It's the tiniest little snippet of what my coaching programs offer. So if you don't want to be held back by ADHD, you can find all the info you need so that you can get tons more support by clicking on the relevant button below.